Hi, I'm Phil Curry. The thoughts in this presentation are the result of my 45-year career, which has evolved through three distinct phases. The first phase was in sales, branch management and executive leadership roles in local, national and international agribusiness organisations. Then I spent 25 years as a management consultant, specialising in marketing and business management. The current phase, as an academic and researcher, includes being responsible for teaching agribusiness marketing and management to undergraduates, postgraduates, and supervising PhD candidates. Over the years, my understanding of the use of SWOT analysis has evolved, and I'd like to share my thoughts about how to use it as an effective analytical method. Whether you're a student, business owner, or manager, or anyone who has responsibility for or are aspiring to have responsibility for organisational strategic planning, I hope these thoughts are helpful to you. We've all seen SWOT analyses like this, haven't we? 4 lists of items that have been prepared by one or more well-intentioned individuals attempting to capture a summary of the organisation's strategic position into a single diagram, or even worse, just completing it because they have been asked to. However, this is just 4 lists. Simply listing strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats overlooks the most important part, and that's the analysis that should be conducted to make sense of the items in the lists and to develop appropriate strategies and tactics as a consequence. In this slide, I've listed what I have found to be the best to include in each list. Traps that are easy to fall into include listing many items under the heading of strengths that are really not strengths compared with rival organisations. This is a trap because it can lead to management believing its own publicity and not taking a sufficiently candid view of the organisation's comparative position in the market. I also like to consider customers' and non-customers' opinions of relative strengths as a reality check. Another issue with many SWOT analyses is that opportunities and strategies are often confused, which means that some opportunities may be overlooked. This is very easy to do. For example, it is easy to state something like export to Asia as an opportunity, when in fact the emergence of segments of consumers with the desire and capacity to buy a product is actually the opportunity, and that can be researched. By stating the precise opportunity, it is much more likely that the appropriate strategies can be developed. Weaknesses often get glossed over, perhaps because mostly we don't want to acknowledge them. Again, as with strengths, it is important to identify what the market perceives to be your organisation's weaknesses, so perceptions are as important as the reality. Similarly, threats are often short lists of generic items rather than well-researched specific items that threaten the success of the organisation. This is a generic list of potential strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats that I frequently used as a consultant. I'm sure you can find others. It is always useful to find checklists as it helps you to be thorough. Even in this list you can see some confusion between opportunities and strategy or actions. The analytical process of a SWOT analysis is where you develop the best insights. To do this, I always found it useful to note the implications of each of the items in the list. By documenting the implications, I found that I was thinking through what each strength, weakness, opportunity or threat really meant. I could also document any ideas for responding against each item for future consideration. Here's part of a SWOT analysis that I did for a client that demonstrates how I used the implications column. The real skill with this process is to engage with personnel from all departments within the organisation and to be prepared to conduct research so that the SWOT is developed and analysed based on evidence. Of course, having developed your list of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats and documenting the implications of each, you're in a good position to prepare some sort of action plan and even make strategic recommendations based on your analysis. Often, in my experience, a thorough SWOT leads to more research, and that provides the basis of evidence-based decision making by management, which is always good. The other thing to remember is that a SWOT analysis is just one of a series of management tools for understanding and managing risk by organisations and for developing strategy. Managers should use a number of these tools in combination and reflect on them frequently to ensure organisations retain and manage appropriate sources of competitive advantage. Thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. If you would like to engage with me in any way to strengthen your organisation, I welcome your inquiry.